You got rid of the leeches. Well done. Now let's figure out how to get emotionally independent. So today's topic is emotional independence. Before I go on, I'd just like to remind you to please subscribe. I think the subscribe button is somewhere down here, and like this video if you do like the video. And it helps me a lot when people subscribe to my channel. And as I said on one of my previous videos, by the 15th of June I would like to hit 1,000 followers. At the moment I'm sitting on 38. So guys, let's help get those numbers up, shall we? Alright, let's get back to today's video. In today's video we are going to be dealing with the topic of emotional independence. Now for me, this is something that I struggled with for many years. Most of my life I was constantly dependent on, or I relied on other people, how other people felt about things. I wasn't ever really prepared to make mistakes and then learn from them. I always thought that if you make a mistake, that's going to be the end of it, and it will have catastrophic consequences and all of that kind of nonsense. And I realized after I started my journey on mastery, on inner game, after I started out on that journey, I realized that making mistake is part of life, and you are going to make mistakes. I realized that there isn't any single person in the world that knows everything about everything. So everybody will experience some degree of success or failure in their life, and that's the way it is. But there were many people in my life who made it seem like I was the one who didn't know what the secret sauce was. Like didn't have access to it, and I didn't know stuff, and always making me feel like I was inadequate. And I believed them. For most of my life I believed these people. When they said things, I was like, okay, well, I guess that's how it is. If they say, well, this is not fashionable anymore and that's what you must do, I was like, okay, I guess that's what I must do. Peer pressure was something that, although I thought I did not give into it, I actually, after most of my teens, saying no to peer pressure successfully, nearly all 9 times out of 10, I found that as an adult I started giving into it a lot more. I was more prone to doing things that would please other people, irrespective of how it would make me feel, because I wasn't really focused on me. I was focused on them and what they wanted, what's right for them, and I completely forgot about me. And that's no way to live. So when I speak about emotional independence, I'm not speaking about it as a theoretical thing. And as I don't think I've said this on any of my videos. I'm not a behavioral psychologist, or I have not studied anything in the area of psychology, so that necessarily qualifies me. But what has happened is that I've gone through a lot of these things that I'm talking about. I've experienced, I've lived it, and I've come to myself, to the point where I realize what I want, what I like, what I need to do in order to move forward. What are the things that I need to do in order to be successful, in order to grow my influence, in order to grow my notoriety, my status, my wealth, or rather how to increase my salary. I learned how to do all of these things, and there were certain things that I followed, people that I listened to, and self-help things that helped me to get to the point where I am today, where I'm actually making these videos, and I'm giving people my perspective from my experience as to how to navigate your way through the minefield that is life. So I've experienced this, I've come through this. I've also seen how other people experience it and how they are struggling with it. And you know, as you start just looking around and looking at various videos on various topics, you start realizing that there's a certain pattern that you need to follow if you want to break free from the mold of wherever it is that you are. Maybe, I know for me, I was struggling with self-confidence, and I was struggling with just being my own person. And I would say that I struggle with it a lot less today than I once was, to the point where sometimes people meet me and they think, wow, you are really confident, you really know exactly where you're going and what you want from life. And that isn't something that just fell into my lap. I wasn't born that way. You need to look at these videos as, a guy sitting on a couch is just telling you how he managed to navigate his way through life. Okay, back to the video. So what is emotional independence? To me, emotional independence is the one thing that is in that two words is independence, and that is the ability to not rely on others for whatever it is that you're dealing with. In this instance, it's, in all fairness, it's just about being truly independent. The emotional aspect is the part that can be quite tricky. So emotional independence, first and foremost, is when you have the ability to not rely on others so much, to make your own decisions, to take responsibility for the things that you do. As part of this, because we're dealing with the topic of emotional independence, it also involves the aspect of your emotions, indulging in them. And when I say indulging in them, what I am not saying is, I'm not speaking of indulgence in a bad way. I'm not saying that you need to go and, wallow in your sorrows. But what I'm saying is that you need to indulge yourself in your feelings, and not by any way, shape or mean do I mean this in an unhealthy way. I mean that if you are sad, you need to realize that it's okay to be sad. There are certain things that will make you sad. If you experience loss, you will be sad, but you will be sad for a period. And you need to be okay with being sad. And when you experience something really amazing in your life, you experience a success, something that you've been struggling with, and one day you just experience a tremendous breakthrough, then you need to go with that euphoria. You need to experience it, you need to enjoy it, because you will also realize that euphoria is not going to last forever. It's going to be for a moment, and then you're going to come down to earth, and you're going to revert back to your normal, natural state. Because this normal natural state, this is where we reside most of the time. We fluctuate between feeling not so good about ourselves to feeling really good about ourselves. So there's that natural, normal state that most of us find ourselves in. And then there is the area below that, which is where we experience our negative emotions. And then there's the area above that normal, where we experience euphoria, where we experience great joy, happiness, and all of those good things. And all of this whole spectrum of emotion, you need to be okay with it. You need to be okay with being sad sometimes. You need to be okay with being really ecstatic and just overjoyed sometimes. And you also need to be okay with just being kind of like, feeling some days, feel like, feeling like that some days. You need to be okay with it. And that's when I speak about indulging in your emotions, that is what I'm talking about. I'm speaking about being okay with your emotions, that entire spectrum. Not spending too long in the negative area and not spending too long in the positive area, because this area here gets you feeling really down, and this area on the top, if you are constantly there, for me, it's tiring. I mean, if I'm really excited and happy for 5 hours, I tell you, I need to sleep for 10 hours. And that's, you can't live too long in either one of these extremes. But there's this place of normalcy, relative normalcy, where you go between feeling, I'm having a good day to, I'm a little tired. There's there's that level that I think is okay. And where I find myself most of the time, where I'm trying to figure things out. So indulge in your emotions, and when you get to the point where you really can just enjoy them, just enjoy it. Enjoy being normal, enjoy being happy, enjoy being a little bit okay, you can't really enjoy being sad, but you need to be okay with being a little bit sad. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And then you also, when you experience emotional independence, you're also okay with making mistakes. Mistakes are a normal, natural part of life. It's something that you have to be okay with, because you are going to make mistakes. When you are in an unhealthy relationship, what often happens is that people will tell you that, oh, if you do this thing, you're going to make a mistake, and we don't want that. And that's not good, because if someone else is telling you how a thing will turn out before you see the results, then how can you trust that? How does that person know that this will or will not be a good decision? Especially if it is questionable as to whether this is a good decision or not in the first place. And most of the times I found that when people can blatantly tell you that what you are doing is gonna be a mistake, usually means that it's gonna be a mistake that will impact them negatively. It's not really that it's a bad thing that you are doing or that you are considering or that is going to happen, but that they can see that for them at least, it's not going to turn out really well, because there's certain interest, there's something that they're seeing, and unless you fully understand what it is that they are talking about, and they are telling you that no, this is not going to work, then there's a very good chance that the reason why they don't want you to do what you are going to do is because it might be good for you, but it will not be good for them. So sometimes people do that, and they tell you, well, it's just not, don't do that, don't do that, it's not going to be good. And if they can't explain to you why it's not going to be good, and you are in the position where you understand what they're saying and therefore can come to the point where you agree that it won't be good, if they don't do that, then usually it's a form of manipulation where they're trying to get you to do what they want that will turn out well for them and not necessarily work out well for you. So you need to be okay with making mistakes. And if, like I said, if someone is telling you that it's gonna be a mistake, then let them explain to you why. Let them show you why. Let them convince you of it. And if it's something that you think you should do in anyway, then, and if it doesn't work out and it turns out to not have been the best decision, then learn to recover from it. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes, guys. We all make them. You need to get to the point where you can take... The other thing about emotional independence is that it's about taking ownership and responsibility for your life, so that when you are making mistakes, you realize, you take ownership of that mistake and you say, that is my mistake, I made it. And I will learn, I will figure out how to fix it. I will figure out what I need to do in order to turn that mistake into a good thing, or turn that mistake into success, or that failure into success. And that's the other aspect of what emotional independence is. And if you're taking ownership of your life, it doesn't just mean that you're accepting all of the faults and all of the mistakes. It also means that when things work out, that you accept the responsibility for that. That you take and it's called taking the credit. If it's bad, then you need to take responsibility for it. When it's positive, then you take the credit and you say, yes, I made that decision and that worked out pretty well, wouldn't you say? Yes, you would. Be prepared to do that. Why not? You're taking ownership of your life. Take ownership of the good and the bad. Don't be one of those people who just, when things are working out well, oh no, yes, that was me. It was all me. And then when things don't go well, then you're like, oh, you know what, guys, we need to accept responsibility as a team for this mistake. Yeah, that doesn't work. Yeah, Fine, if it was a team effort and we all failed, then cool. But then when we as a team make decisions and we do things and we experience success, then let us all receive the credit as well. Give me all the credit, I'll take all the blame. If you want us to take the credit, then let us get the glory as well at the end of the day. So this journey of emotional independence involves all of those things. It involves making your own decisions, indulging in your emotions. It involves making mistakes and being okay with it, taking responsibility of your life. And once you've done all of that, it also means that you're okay with just being. It's okay to just be you. And I think that's, for me, that's the big thing about emotional independence, is that whether I'm sitting on a couch or whether I'm sitting on a beach somewhere, or whether I'm working really hard and working hard at achieving my dreams, I'm okay with whatever I am, wherever I am, whatever I am doing. And that's the beauty about emotional independence. Maybe you've embarked on a journey of self-help, and you aren't really sure how other people are going to respond to what you've done, to what the progress you've made in your life. And because you aren't really sure of how other people are going to respond to your progress, you therefore are very apprehensive about how you need to proceed. Okay, so maybe you aren't sure how people are going to respond to you, how people are going to respond to the progress that you've made in your life. And as a result of that, you therefore are very uncertain of how to proceed. And sometimes we let this uncertainty get in the way of our progress. And because we're uncertain, we therefore stop making progress because we're unsure how people are going to react. Maybe you've made a lot of progress in your area of focus. Now I speak about this area of focus thing, and the area of focus is just basically that thing in your life that you've decided you're going to work on. And because you've made, okay, so it's that thing that you've decided that you're going to work on, that it could be your job, it could be maybe that you want to increase your salary, that you want to become a better sports person, or that there's something in your life that you've decided that you are going to focus on, that you are going to become just the best that you possibly can at this thing. So in that area of focus of yours, it could be that you've done really well up to this point, but you are afraid of how people are going to respond to your continued success. And because of that fear, you start feeling like maybe you should just tone it down a notch or two. Whatever the situation is, and there could be multiple things that will get you to the point where you allow other people's opinions of you to start holding you back, or the fear of other people's opinions of you to prevent you from actually moving forward. And this is a real thing. Sometimes, when you put it in that way, it sounds silly. It's like, really, why would I be afraid of that? But when you sit down and you think about it, there could be many things about that actually would give you pause and would cause you to just carefully reevaluate what you want and what you want to do, and whether or not you should do it or not. And in my mind, when you allow that kind of thing to prevent you from moving forward, then you don't have this issue of emotional independence handled. Sometimes we allow the people in our lives to do things that are completely unacceptable. and we allow them to do those things because we want their approval. And that isn't right. Why should you have to struggle, or why should you have to disadvantage yourself so that someone else can move forward in their lives? Why should you have to do that? There is a time and a place for that. For instance, with a young baby, you disadvantage yourself so that you can ensure that that baby will grow and will develop into a mature adult. And that's okay for you to do. It's okay for you to do that at that stage. But when you are an adult and you have other adults who you putting your life on the back burner so that they can move forward, that just isn't right. Why can't we all move forward together? So there are various factors that could lead you to this point where you are putting your life on hold for whatever reason, so that other people, or at the expense of other people moving forward. Some people put themselves allow a relationship to carry on where they are being cheated on, where they carry on with that relationship as opposed to ending it and saying, listen, I'm sorry, this is not for me. You cheating on me and you expect me to be okay with that. That's not right. And we make excuses for these people. And we say that it's okay, when it's not okay. And you need to be okay with saying it's not okay. So emotional independence, if the first part of this video dealt with that. It showed you, I tried to illustrate exactly what emotional independence is. But how do you actually develop it? And the first thing to emotional independence is that you need to make the decision to actually just make that break and say that I am no longer going to allow the opinions of others to hold me back, the desires of others to hold me back. I'm not going to allow that anymore. It's a decision. It starts with a decision. But that decision is the beginning of a very long journey. And you have to realize that it's going to be a process. It's going to be repetitive. You're going to have to do the same thing over and over and over until you get to the point where you are getting what you want. And it doesn't necessarily need to be at the expense of other people. So what you need to do is you need to get to the point where you are emotionally independent, where you are making decisions for yourself, you're taking responsibility for your life, where you are indulging in your emotions, where you are taking ownership of your life, where you have finally found that it's okay to just be. So you're gonna have to go through those various things, and I think that emotional independence could include a raft of other factors. And do yourself a favor and go and see what emotional independence entails, what else it entails, how else other people have spoken about it. And once you've seen that and you begin to understand it, then you need to start implementing those things. And it's implementing. It's not like software that you load it, and it's done, It's installed now, it's gonna work. I'm now emotionally independent. That's not how it works. It is a process. You have to constantly go through this process, and you have to realize that you need to get to the point where you are okay emotionally, where it's okay for you to make decisions, where it's okay for you to take ownership of your life, where it's okay for you to actually move forward. And if other people aren't moving forward because they aren't doing what it takes to move forward, then that's not your responsibility. That's their responsibility. Your responsibility is to take care of you, to make sure that you move forward, to make sure that you experience growth. That's your responsibility. My responsibility is to ensure that I move forward, to ensure that I do what it takes, whatever it takes, within the limits of the law, within the limits of what is morally acceptable. I need to do what it takes to ensure that I move my life forward. It's my responsibility for me. It's your responsibility for you. And once you've done this, as you go through this process, sometimes you'll say to yourself, why did I allow that to happen again? I'm so stupid. No, it's not stupid. Yes, you allowed it to happen. What are you going to do now? Recover from it. A mistake. Remember I said earlier it's okay to make mistakes? It's okay to make a mistake as long as you learn from it. So then you've made that mistake, fine. So now recover. Do whatever you need to do to recover from that mistake and then move on. It's a process. Don't rush it. Take your time. Try to do it as quickly as possible, but you need to realize that it's not going to happen overnight. And if it does happen for you overnight, well done. But for the majority of us, it's gonna be a process. You're gonna have to get to the point where you don't feel the need to have other people approve of you. You're gonna have to get to the point where you realize that I'm gonna excel and I am going to move forward, and sometimes it means that I'm gonna move forward alone. Sometimes it will mean that the people who are with me will be left behind because they aren't prepared to do what it takes to move forward. But I am. If I am, then I will do what it takes to move forward. And if they're going to be left behind, which is better? For all of us to remain in the doldrums, or for one of us to lift ourselves up and that person to try and eventually reach back and, try and get the rest up? That's your decision to make. I can't answer that for you. For me, it's better for me to move forward and for the rest of my family to stay where they are than for all of us to stay where we are. And if I move forward, just maybe if I move forward, the rest of them will realize, hey, it's possible. And then they will move forward one by one or all together. I don't know how that's going to work out. But that's not my responsibility. I've taken the responsibility for me. I'm making decisions for me. And if it will benefit them, great. If it doesn't benefit them but it benefits me, then fine. If I'm making a decision that will negatively impact them, and it's kind of like a real thing, like where I do something and the result of me doing something like taking money from them will negatively impact them, that's not morally right, so I shouldn't do that. But if I'm gonna do something and as a result of what I'm doing, let's not say that the consequences are directly connected, but I'm moving forward, and because I'm moving forward, you're going to feel jealous for me. That's not my problem. Your jealousy is your problem. But if I'm moving forward, I know that it can only mean good things for those around me. The other thing that you need to do as part of this process is you need to start developing your own preferences. Now, some people are in unhealthy relationships, and in these unhealthy relationships, they are told what they must feel and how they must feel and what they must do and what they mustn't do. And as a result of that, you then, if you are in that kind of situation, you lose the ability to make decisions, to decide what you like and what you don't like, because for all of your life, you've relied on this other person. But you are now here. You are now at the point where you know that you can make it, that you can change that. So now that you are here, let me tell you what you can do. I'm going to give you something that's going to blow your mind. You can decide for yourself what you do and don't like. Huh? Who would have thought? And like I said, some of the stuff is like, it's so simple. But the thing is that when you are in that situation, you don't know, because you're like, and the main reason is because you're scared, because you don't know how people are going to react. If all of my friends are all wearing grey and I decide to wear a black top, how are they going to react? If those are really your friends, they're going to be like, okay, he's wearing black, sweet, looks good on him. If they aren't your friends, they're going to be like, oh, you want to be the weirdo, huh? You want to stand out amongst us, huh? Who do you think you are, huh? Who do you think you are? That kind of friends, those are the kind of people that I drop you. As a matter of fact, I won't even be part of your group, because when I started, you would have probably said, you need to start wearing grey, huh? And I'll tell you straight, no, my friend. I wear whatever I feel like wearing. And if I'm not at the company where I need to wear a uniform, then I'm not going to wear a uniform in my social life. I don't even do that at work. So why would I want to do it here? So develop your preferences. And yes, it's scary. It's scary to think what the consequences are going to be of me actually, maybe out of my whole family, being the only person that likes fish. If my family didn't like fish, well, if I like red and none of my other friends are wearing red, then how's that gonna fit? Really? Go out and try it and see what happens. If they decide they're not going to be your friends because you all of a sudden are wearing red and they're wearing grey, then they aren't your friends. They aren't the kind of people you want to be around. If it's not morally wrong, if it's not illegal, what's the problem? But yeah, we know there's some people for whom everything is an issue. And if I'm around that kind of people, I don't want to be around them, and I won't be. I won't be for long, that's for sure. So you need to develop your own preferences, and it is scary. You know, when I first started on my journey, it was scary getting out. I mean, like, I never used to be one that liked colorful colors, bright colors, red, orange, green. I hated those colors. I still hate green. I don't like green. Well, you know, it all depends. You know, if it's like there's a color that the Porsche GT2 RS comes out in, that green. I really love it on that car, but I will never wear that color. It's just not preference. I don't like that color. You know, it's fine. But develop your preferences. See what you like, see what you don't like, see what places you like going to, what you like drinking, what you don't like drinking. You know, so maybe your family has been all about Coke their whole life. You know, we only drink Coca-Cola. Try Fanta Orange, see what that does for you. Do you like it? If you don't like it, then fine. Try Pine Nut. You don't like that? Fine. Try beer. You don't like that? Don't drink beer. You know, develop your preferences. Find out what you like and what you don't like. And remember, yeah, so do that. And you'll find that it is extremely liberating. There are certain things that I won't do. I don't like beer. I haven't since I was a kid. I mean, someone tried to give it to me once. Oh, it tastes horrible. But it's not for me. I don't like that. I drink soft drinks wherever I go. There are some places that I've been to, even a restaurant once, where the waiter brought the wine list, and he brought the menu. And I said what I was going to have. The waiter laughed. I was like, really? You're laughing for? Really? I drink soft drinks. Do you have a problem with that? He's like, no, I don't have a problem with it. It was just weird for him to see a grown man like myself drinking soft drinks at the restaurant. Who knew? That didn't bother me. I was like, okay. The fact that he didn't approve of my choice didn't cause me to change my choice. I was like, I'm gonna drink this thing. I'm drinking a soft drink. That's it. I don't drink beer. It's not my thing. I don't smoke. I don't like that. It's not good for my lungs. So I have my set of preferences. There's certain things that I do like. There's certain things that I don't like. I'm not a cat person, but I do like dogs. You know? I like Nikon cameras. Don't care too much for Canon. Although in the future, for photography, not Canon, but cinema cameras, maybe, who knows, you know? Canon C200 is something I'm looking at for the future. And as you start developing these preferences, you are going to discover that some people are gonna like what are gonna be like. Oh, you know, you like. We are all Porsche people. You like Lamborghini? Oh, really? Oh, no, it is what it is. And some people, because of your preferences, are going to be like, we can't be friends anymore. Do I now change my preferences because my friends don't approve? No, I'm making my decisions for myself. This is what I like. You don't like it? That's your problem. It's not my problem. And you will then discover that some people in your life who don't like the fact that you have now becoming more independent, they're not gonna like that. Does that mean that you stop becoming independent? And maybe that's what you're scared of, that your family won't approve. If they really love you, they'll be okay with it. If it's not objectively wrong, then what's the problem? And this is where the thinning of the herd will take place. Where you will find that people find that they can't hang with you anymore because there's certain things that you like. You don't like drinking and smoking, don't like clubbing, that's what your friends are into. All of a sudden you can't hang with them because that's all they do. That's fine. You're not a cat person, Maybe the people that you were hanging around with loved cats. And they're like, we can't hang around with a dog person. That's fine. Find dog people to chill with. Okay, in all seriousness, there are going to be some preferences that you have that other people cannot stand. And you need to be okay with that. This is part of the journey. If you aren't prepared to do this, if you aren't prepared to offend some people sometimes because of the things that you like, then if you just want to be a yes man, that's fine, then be a yes man. But I have things that I like, that I don't, and there are things that I don't approve of. And because some people don't like my preferences, doesn't mean that I'm therefore going to change my preferences for them. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. It is what it is. This is who I am. Accept me as I am or leave me as I am. Your choice. And what you are going to have to do is you are going to have to now start surrounding yourself with the kind of people that you want to emulate. So you've been hanging around with losers. So you've been hanging around with people that like to beat other people up, make other people look small. You've been hanging around with that kind of people. Is that the kind of person you want to be? If the answer is no, then you can't continue hanging around with those people and expect to be like the people who you want to emulate, which are nothing like them. If you want to hang out with high caliber, high quality people, then you need to find high caliber, high quality people, people of high character that you can sit down at the same table with. And sometimes we can't. I mean, like, I would love to say, I've got Warren Buffett on speed dial, here's his number. I'd love to say, Will Smith, I can call him up anytime. I can't do that. However, what I can do is I can go and listen to interviews of these guys. Listen to how they think, how they have managed to get what they have. Because those are the kind of people that maybe I would like to emulate. Maybe I'd like to be as charismatic as Will Smith. Maybe I'd like to be as wealthy as Warren Buffett. Maybe I would like to, like Oprah, you have one, you get one, everybody gets one. Maybe I'd like that. Then I need to hang around that. I need to be around that so that I can learn how to be that. You can't hang around with pigs and expect to fly like a bird. It's not going to happen. So I don't have all of these people on speed dial. But what do I have? I do have there are interviews of these guys. I can go and watch that. I can find out what they are like. But so there are those really high caliber people that, like, if I just take my hand out of the screen, we can't even we can't even sit around the same table as them, which is fine. So then we watch YouTube videos and we bring them down to where we are, which is like cool. But then sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you need a little more. Sometimes you just, so then find people that people that maybe at work someone that's really an upstanding person, someone who really oozes confidence. Try to hang around with that person. Talk with them from time to time. Strike up a conversation. Find out how they got to where they are, how they managed to be the way they are. Find a way. It's possible. So there are people that are completely out of your reach, and then there are people that are around you. You need to open your eyes and you will see them and create opportunities to be around them. And if you can't be around him in a social context, then how about offering him, offering that person lunch, so you can talk about, kick around a few ideas, tell them what you're interested in, what you would like to do, and that they have some of the qualities that you aspire to have, and find a way to make it both a win for them and for you. So now you've done that. We've gone through part of the process. We know now what emotional independence is. We know how to develop it as you're becoming your own person. Okay, so that's fantastic. Now you've come to the point, and you really are doing very well. You are growing, you are developing, you are becoming an interesting person. People love hanging around you because they see you as someone to aspire to. You have now turned out to be somebody else's role model. At this point, you can make you have a decision to make. You can either continue the one-man roadshow and continue growing, not helping anyone else along the way. You can that's a valid option. Or you can make the decision to help other people up. And this is one of the reasons why I'm putting these videos out, because I've learned so much in my time and over these past few years, and I would like other people to get to that point as well. And while I might not be a Will Smith or Warren Buffett, maybe even a Richard Branson, I am someone who has overcome tremendous challenges, and I would like to help pull other people up to where I am, or possibly even propel them further than I could ever go. And this is a choice, this is something that you can do, and I find that it is extremely fulfilling. So the choice that you have is that once you get to this point and you have now developed your emotional independence, or even as you are going along on your journey, you can make the decision to try and help someone up to your level. Now, some of us might be like, yeah, I'd love to do that. And then you go and you do that, you try it. But now you will come across different kinds of people. You will come across people who are not in a good situation, who have no desire whatsoever to improve their lives because they are happy with where they are. And you can see that it's not a good place, but they're like, no, I'm fine. You need to be okay with that. Because as you get better at being you, as you get better on this road of self-improvement, there will be some people that just don't want help. They have no desire to be assisted. They're okay with where they are, happy with where they are. Remember before you realized that you actually had a problem, and maybe you came across all of these self-help videos and things, you were like, that's not for me, man, I don't need that. And now you look back at yourself and you're like, why didn't I start so long ago when I was 15? If only I'd done it then. The thing is, some people aren't interested, and it's okay. I'm like, oh, I'm okay with that. I'm like, it's fine. If you're happy with where you are, even though I see that you need some help, that's okay. When that person then gets to the point where they actually do reach out and they say, you know what, bro, I need some help, man. I need someone who's winning at life. I need to learn how to win at life. Don't be that guy that's like, oh yeah, but I came to you once and you turned me away. Don't be that guy. Find a way to determine whether that person really is interested. And if they really are interested, then why not help them? Why not? So you need to realize that not everybody who's in a bad situation wants to be helped. Some people do, some people don't. Some people are happy with where they are. Some people actually aren't happy with where they are, but they are afraid. And they need to get to the point where they realize that there is something bigger than my fear. There's something on the other side of my fear that if I reach through my fears and I get a hold of it and I take it and I run with it, then something amazing is going to happen. So when you do get into that position where you are starting to help other people, or you decide that you want to help other people, whether you do decide to help other people or not, as you go on this journey, you need to continue surrounding yourself with people that will move you forward, whether that is watching the interviews or watching motivational stuff online, reading articles about these people. You need to surround yourself with that, because as you start leveling up, what you will find is that the problems at that level also increase. So the things that helped you get here might not be enough to get you further to get you past this next level. So then you need to work at that level, and you need to find things that will help you at that level. So at each level of your progress and your development, you're gonna need other strong people, or you're gonna need other sources of motivation, other sources of assistance, of guidance that will help you to get through those things. And then while you are doing that, also try to reach down and help somebody up that is in need. Right, guys, so today's episode was it's a very difficult one to talk about, because it is so emotional, because it is something that gets a very illogical part of who we are involved, and our emotions are never logical. They are it is what it is. Saying that I like. And so it's difficult, and developing emotional independence is not easy, but it is something that can be done. It is a process and it takes time. So that's it for today's video, folks, and I hope that I trust that you have enjoyed it. And please do like this video and subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell notification to be notified every time I upload a new video on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.